everybody. So today I'm going to be telling you the story of the Night Witches of World War II, or as they were known to the Germans, die Nachthexen. So in the fall of 1941, the Soviet Union was losing bad. The Nazi Party was about to march on Moscow, and the Soviet Union was desperate for help. So they decided to employ a select few women to serve as fighter pilots. Now, these women go on to become some of the most feared women of the Nazi Party. They were terrified of them. So basically, in 1942, these women started flying, and they had the crappiest planes. They had wooden crop dusters that were never meant for combat. They were like open cockpit. They could only hold 2 to maybe 8 bombs, and sometimes the engines would cut out. And again, planes were wooden, so like one shot hits and it can go up in flames. So they had this horrible equipment, and it was super noisy as well. Well, what these women did is they would fly short range missions, and they would fly 8 to 18 a night per pilot. So they would fly back and forth from the Soviet camp to the Nazis, back and forth, and just bombing them. Now, they only did this at night. Why? Because the planes had to fly super low, and they were super noisy. So it would be way easier to see them during the day, and they would probably get shot down pretty quickly. However, doing it at night, the Nazis couldn't see them, and these women were ghosts. They could not detect them on radar. They could not find them on infrared. And these women didn't use radios, so they couldn't track their radios. They had no idea when they were coming. They didn't know where they were coming from. They would see one plane come in as loudly as possible. It would attract all of the spotlights, which would then illuminate the area for the second plane, because these planes didn't have lights. That's why they were so stealthy. So then after they illuminated the area with the first distraction, essentially with the first plane, the second woman would fly in, cut her engine off, so you didn't hear anything. There was just maybe like a light little noise as you could hear her gliding, and then just boom, boom, blown up. So they were so incredibly feared because of this tactic. They were ghosts. The Nazis couldn't see them, they couldn't hear them, and they didn't know where they were coming, so they had no way to stop them. So allegedly, these women were so feared by the Nazis that any German airmen who downed one immediately got an Iron Cross medal, which is basically like a Congressional Medal of Honor, just for shooting one of them down, because these women were so incredibly deadly to the Nazi Party. If it wasn't for these women flying these incredibly dangerous stealth missions where they would have to walk out on the side of the wings and they would cut their engine off and glide, sometimes the planes would just catch fire and they had to somehow manage to either put it out or just hope that they made it back to camp in time to put it out mid-flight. So these women were so feared, and they're one of the only reasons that the Soviet Union never got invaded by the Nazis. And later, after the Nazis had surrendered, they finally asked them about the Night Witches, and the Germans said that they had 2 theories. Either number 1, these women were injected with a special serum that made them be able to see in the dark, which is not true. Or number 2, they were already crooks and criminals and were well versed in trickery and thievery, so they already knew all this kind of stuff. Neither of which are true. They were 17 to 26 years old, and they bombed the Nazi Party, probably the only reason the Soviet Union never got invaded. So now you guys know about the story of the Night Witches of World War II. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.